Okay, hopefully we are recording. Okay, so first of all, I would love to know what what's your experience with AI and which model do you use right now, and what's actually, what are you coming up against? What are you struggling with? Could you just drop that in the chat, and we'll pick a few at random and talk about them just because we want to use these questions to actually create more workshops in the future. So, uh, would be really useful to see what you're struggling with. All these pesky note takers. All right, love it. ChatGPT and Claude for vibe coding. Lisa, I love it. Use ChatGPT. It's helped my engagement. Mistral. Okay. I use it every day. Claude mostly, Francavita. Mostly use of AI, GPT. Trying to improve my prompts. So you're struggling with prompts, Tom. That's interesting. Using ChatGPT and finding myself arguing with it more than anything else. Hopefully we can fix that for you today, Lee. Claude is my friend from Wesley. Copilot, okay. That's interesting. I'm not going to cover that today, but interesting that you use that. So maybe we'll ask you a few questions about that. Claude, but I never know which model to use. ChatGPT and Claude for content ideation. All right, I'm going to pick on you, Lee. Um, I'll just stop sharing for a moment. So I've lost what you said now, but I think you said,
Arguing
you,
with it.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. What's the
So I use it. I've built a repository. I've got all my theory stuff in there, and I use that to help me ideate and bring ideas together and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't. It's like a precocious and very clever 12-year-old. It knows a damn sight more than I do about a damn sight more in the world, but it just won't do what it's told. I ask it to
Yeah.
perform in a certain way, and it does for 30 minutes or so, and then it starts drifting back into what it is. And I put in kind of like a directory of don't use this language, use this language. And the first 10 minutes of every kind of like logged in session, I'm recorrecting that. So it's I get there in the end, but it's a pain. It really is a pain.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully we can help you fix that today.
Okay.
I don't know if you've looked at Claude, but Claude is really good for that kind of stuff,
To
especially
be
if you
honest,
use
I'm in a
basic
space
code.
at the moment where I've set everything up on GPT, and I think that Claude is going to be a bit of a learning curve that I don't really think I've got time for at the moment. So
I
I'm
think you'd be
I'm
surprised.
tovering on, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised. But anyway, especially if you
Okay.
set it up properly from the beginning, you can also export your memory from ChatGPT and import it into Claude.
Okay. Okay.
And
All right.
all right. And so I just wanted to ask one more person. So Nicole, you said you're using ChatGPT and Claude for content ideation creation, analyze client calls, transcripts, and create a ChatGPT food assistant. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about that. How does all that work? Is it a positive experience for you?
Yeah, so I mean, for content, I find it positive, but also sometimes frustrating because, like Lee said, sometimes it jumps back to using M dashes and these stacked sentences that I always tell it not to use, and then it does it for some time and then it goes back. So the content side is like so, but what is super useful, I've developed a prompt that is like a really long prompt that is completely trained in my nutrition coaching methodology. And I've given it to a couple of clients to test it, and they all love it. And I'm using it for myself, and it's really weird because I upload pictures of my food and then it talks exactly like I would coach a client. It's really weird. It's a bit scary.
Yeah.
But that is something I'm really enjoying. And then, I don't want to hijack this, but there's a couple of things about data protection and how to best, take this further. But that's really amazing. Um,
Yeah,
really
cool.
experience.
Sounds like you got a good little workflow set up there. Okay, well, thank you for sharing. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you slides just for a moment. So I wanted to talk about, I mean, the three sort of main models really. Actually, sorry, no, I'm glad I've got slides because otherwise I'd have missed that. Well, the first thing that I wanted to share actually is um, any LLM or any AI, whatever you want to call it, is actually conversational. And of course, they're designed that way because that's how human beings are. And most of them have a dictation tool, which is great. But I don't know if you've used them, but when you press the little microphone button, they're good, but they tend to kind of make mistakes and not, they don't do a great job, and you end up going back in and actually modifying and editing what you've actually said. So I use a tool, and I'll share it with you, called Whisperflow. And honestly, this has made such a difference. I'll drop it in the chat. This has made such a difference to everything I do, because it it learns how I talk, and I'll give you a little demo of it in a moment. It basically captures everything, it formats it, it corrects my mistakes, it corrects my stutters, and it's made me so much more productive. And you can see that stat on the screen. My typing speed is terrible. It's 39 words per minute, and I look at the keyboard, I'm not a touch typer. And that is actually outdated. My speed now is 109, and the reason it's only at 109 is because I often, as I'm saying things, I'm thinking things through and I pause. It's probably a lot higher than that, but that's what it's telling me. So basically, this tool has made me 250% more productive. I think that is maybe a lot more productive. And I spend a lot of my time, working with AI, typing stuff, emails, and it just works with everything that I do. And let me just, I'll show you. Hold on a second. Let me just share this screen. Well, let me share just do this quickly, show you how good this is. Can you guys see that? All right. So I'm just going to hold down my function button. So the thing I really love about Whisperflow is that, one, it automatically formats what I'm saying into text. Two, it can do bulleted and numbered lists. And three, it is really good at when I stutter, when I use filler words, and it corrects it all for me. And you can see, hopefully, that it's basically, just done all that stuff automatically. So I can just write emails and do everything. So this is what I use for everything. I use it for, and I know Gemini, Chat, and Claude all have their own tool, but I just find this tool, absolutely amazing. Anyway, that's the first thing I wanted to share is if you're using AI in your business, either use the dictation tools that are inside of each AI or try something like this, and I think you'll be amazed. So let me share my other screen again. Okay. Now, which AI should you use? Now, this is just my opinion and my experience, and it's the current state of play because this changes all the time, right? But currently, this is what I think ChatGPT is really good at and what it's not so good at. So it's hands down the best for creating images right now, if you know how to prompt it and if you know how to set it all up. And between ChatGPT and Perplexity, I think it's also the best for research. So for just searching general things and doing deep research, I always use ChatGPT. So when I'm, preparing, creating, I use ChatGPT a lot, but when I'm executing, well, you'll see, I use Claude. ChatGPT though, the output is still robotic most of the time. It just doesn't write like a human. You can tell a mile off when something has been written by ChatGPT. and it's not good most of the time. Again, that's just my opinion, and I'm not being, paid by any of these companies to say good or bad things about them. This is just my view. Then there is Gemini. I still use Gemini a lot, and it's good. It's great for images, Nano Banana Pro. But if you want to create images of yourself, and I do because I just don't want to do photo shoots. So I take photos of myself and I create scenes, but Gemini is terrible for it. Gemini, I think Google must have gotten into trouble for, people doing deep fakes, and it just won't do it anymore. So, but it is good at other images. What I do use Gemini for is tech support. If I'm struggling with anything, I struggled with Zoom earlier. I couldn't figure something out, couldn't figure out how to share a file. I went to Gemini. Within 30 seconds, it was fixed. So Gemini is my tech support technician. It's good if you're a non-native English speaker, if you want to speak to it in your own language. It's the best, actually. And the gems, the custom gems, are the best for sharing, especially if you want to monetize, because you can control exactly who you give access to your gems. Again, it gives robotic output. There are reports of a lot of inaccuracies with Gemini when it does research. I've never experienced that, but there are reports out there. I think, considering it's a Google product, it's pretty underwhelming as to what it can do in Google Workspace. I'm guessing they're going to work on that, but that's just my view. And and I'm not even sure about this, but unless you're in the US or North America at least, the context memory is not good because it doesn't have a setting to store your context. I think if you're in the US, you do get that if you're on the paid version, but outside you don't, and I don't know why. And then the third one, and this is honestly what I would recommend for most tasks, is Claude. And hands down, it is the best for writing because the output actually sounds like a human. And if you set it up properly and you do the things that we're going to show you in this workshop, it will write content like you write. You'll be amazed at how close it can get. It's definitely the best for agentic work and for coding, if you're creating apps or web pages or whatever. If you're actually creating stuff, then Claude is the best. And then it has a feature called co-work, which you're not going to cover in this session, but that's absolutely awesome because it does work on your computer. It doesn't just tell you what to do, but it actually does things, changes files and updates stuff live on your computer. And it's definitely the best for deep work and for challenging your thinking. Again, if you set it up the right way, and we'll get started with that in a moment. But on the downside, it burns through tokens. So tokens in AI, basically one token is about a word. So every word you put in and every word you put out costs a token. And it really burns through it, especially if you use some of the more powerful models. If you use an Opus, or if you're in the US, again, this is controlled by the government for some reason, but outside of the US, we're not allowed to use Fable anymore because that really does burn through tokens. But yeah, it can be expensive if you're not careful, and it can be slow sometimes depending on the work that you're doing and the model that you're using and the time of day that you use it. And I don't think it's the best tool for research, again, unless you use Fable if you're in the US. So those are just my opinions, but that's my sort of recommendation on the models to use. So what I really want to do today is have you walk away with something really, really useful. So you should have received, let me stop sharing for a moment. You should have received an email from me before the session, and hopefully you were able to download that. But if not, I'm going to just drop it in the chat now. Give me a second. Don't know. So if you click on that file or click on download and just save that file to your computer, and once it is on your computer, go and find it in your Finder or your file manager or whatever it's called on Windows, and double click on it, and it should open in your browser. If it doesn't, ideally in Chrome because it uses Chrome fonts, but if it doesn't, you should be able to right click and tell it to open in your browser. So I'll give you a moment or two to do that. If you've done that and it is open, can you just give me a wave? All right, good. All right, the majority of people have managed to do that. Good, okay. So is anyone struggling to just shout out? It's okay. If you're struggling, shout out and I'll give another minute or so. No? All good? Okay. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is put it up on my screen and share it. Stop one. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Good. Okay, I saw at least one nodding head. So this is and I'll eventually probably put this on a web page, but this is basically it's a fill in the blanks template that can turn your AI into something better, hopefully, than what you have right now. So I've already heard people are fighting with their AI and getting generic stuff and all that kind of stuff. Well, you should be able to counteract that by doing this. And most people don't do this. I'm surprised at how many people don't do this because it's not that complicated. So basically, if you go through and fill all this in, and we'll go through it in a minute, then what happens is, and you can either start with my examples or you can click on this. Let me just you can click on this clear all button and it will put it all blank for you and put your own details in here. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to do this and just go through all of them. Some of them are compulsory. You definitely want to do them. There's some like this one that's optional. If you don't want to share what you do outside of work, for example, you can leave it blank. And there are 4 versions of English. Sorry if I've missed any other version, but these generally capture spellings and things like that. So just select which version of English you want to use. And then this one is optional. If you don't have your brand set up, then you can just leave this blank. And if you're not worried about how you specifically name files, you can leave this blank as well. But I'm an absolute stickler for file naming because I'm a Virgo, and Roxana can testify to that. So I'm really, I'm all over file naming conventions. I could do a whole session on that, but I'm not gonna. So if you want examples, you can just click on mine, and these are this is what I've got in my AI, okay? And then we'll show you where to put it all. So basically, as you do that, it's producing this little file down here, and then we'll go through and we will show you how to copy it into your LLM. Right. Before you get going, does anyone have any questions? Is that clear?
It's
Everyone
clear,
good?
but I'm trying to clear the sections so I can put my own content in and it won't let me clear.
Are you able to write over what's already in there?
Let's see.
Adrian, so I just want to ask you a quick question.
Yep. Can I just deal
Yes.
with Rachel for a moment?
Yep. The
Yeah,
answer is
sure.
yes. I can type over
You
it.
can. All right,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, then just do that, Rachel. That's yeah. So sorry, who was it asking me?
It was me,
Adam.
Adam.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick one. in terms of the fields that you filled out, I want to take the time to fill that out really, it's going to take more than 10 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
Will we have access to this document to
It's
fill it
yours.
out properly
Yes.
to play with it as much as we like, yeah?
Yeah. If you want to, I mean, if you want to do that, I would recommend just do it now, put the first version in, then after the workshop, you can just go back, take as long as you want on it, and then just overwrite the files.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yes.
So I'm going to put some, oh, I'm not sure I'm sharing the right screen. Oh yeah. I'm going to put some music on, some focus music, and just leave you guys for 10 minutes. If anyone struggles, gets in trouble, it's okay. You can just shout out and I will help. Oh, when you finish, by the way, can you please raise your digital hand? Hopefully you know how to do that. I think I don't even know how to do it, but there's a way of doing it. I can't remember how you do it. It's been so long. But
in the reactions section.
Yeah, reactions.
Click the react button on the bottom and then
There you go. Yeah. If you could do that once you finish, just so we can see when people have actually finished, and then we won't waste too much time. So
Adrian, can you please share again in the chat the document for the people that recently joined?
yes,
Thank
I
you.
certainly can. Let me put my lovely music on first because
Yes.
I want people to focus. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I just dropped the file in the chat again. Like I said, if anyone's struggling, just shout out. If the music's annoying, then turn your volume down.
Sorry, Adrian, I've got a question. It says your role.
Yeah.
I'm a creator of a couple of systems that help people remove emotional and mental blocks. Should I put that there as well, or is the role just specific to whether you're a founder or a coach?
Let me just double check that. I think it's yeah, I think it's just the basics. So yeah, if you're a founder, and I think the detail goes in the next one.
Okay, thanks.
Turn the music down for you, Mia. Let me know if it's still annoying you.
Adrian,
Yeah,
can I
yeah,
ask you a quick question?
yeah.
Do you use your Claude or ChatGPT for Kit by any chance?
For Kit,
Yeah. You use any to like for your newsletters and stuff like that, or lead magnets?
yeah, I use it for everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I spend more time on Claude than I do with my kids. But yeah, I do use it for Kit. Yeah, and we'll, in the future, Adam, we'll do workshops on that as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And there is actually an MCP connector to Kit, which I installed it yesterday, but I haven't used it yet. So it's really interesting as well. Okay, how are we getting on, guys? I know, two done. I know 10 minutes isn't a long time to do this, but just do it as best you can for now. And like Adam, you can always come back afterwards and redo it if you think you need to do it in more depth. All right, cool. People are finishing. Okay, I'll give it one more minute and then we'll move on to the next part. So if you don't feel like you've got it as good as you want it to be, don't worry too much. Like I said, you can do this yourself afterwards and I'll show you what to do. So one more minute and we'll move on. Okay. Oh, still got my music playing. Okay. Can you guys hear me? All right, good. All right, so let me share my other screen now. Move this stuff out of the way. Okay, can you guys see my screen? All right, good.
Yep.
All right. So hopefully that wasn't too painful. You can lower your hands now, by the way. Thank you for doing that. That was helpful. So the next part is basically really straightforward. For Claude, I'll show you Claude first because that's open. Now, Claude generally has much more capacity for doing things like this than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is quite limited, but you can still do it, don't worry. So I'm going to show you Claude first. So basically, once you've got this how you want it, you click the copy button and you move over to Claude and just click on your settings down here. And in here, you've got instructions for Claude. Literally, just paste it into here. And I think there's a save button. Sorry, I've got. Oh, no, you don't even have to save it. Just click away from it. And you're good to go. Okay. So that's how you do that for Claude. Very simple, right? Now for ChatGPT, oh, Zoom is driving me nuts here, sorry. For ChatGPT, all you need to do is click on this button here, ChatGPT, and it's going to give you 2 text blocks to copy. So, and with ChatGPT, just double check the number of characters. So you can see you only have 1,500 characters, and mine is at 1,477, so not much room left there. So you might have to trim stuff down for ChatGPT because it's limited basically. So copy this one first, the about you, go to ChatGPT, do the same thing, go to settings and click on personalization. And you should have 2 fields in here. One is custom instructions, and the other one is about you. Okay, so that first window, not the second one. Where is it? This one here, this first text block, is the one that you put into that about you one, which is actually the second one, which is confusing. Sorry about that. So you can just delete that and then Control V and put it in there. And then go and grab the other one. And just click on the copy button. That will put that straight on your clipboard. And do the same. Go up to this custom instructions and just do a Control V. And I don't think there's a save button I've got to hit. No, I think that's it as well. Okay, so that is now just saved, right? And so I'm just going to go through this quickly, and you can see, I'll do the Claude one because it's easier. Obviously, this is very personal to me, this first part, but then it's giving these rules here, and you can change these. You can, if you want to update it yourself and tweak them, by all means do that. You can just copy and put it, copy it and put it into a document and edit it in the document and then paste it in. But this I've tweaked and tested and played around with it, and this works really, really well for me. So be direct, concise, honest, no fluff. This is really important. No sycophancy. If you don't tell it not to be a sycophant, then any AI is just going to try and please you all the time and tell you things that you want to hear, which is no good. It doesn't help. So this line is really important. Tell me what's true, not what I want to hear. And this one I find just, yeah, I want to be challenged. I don't want AI to just agree with everything and send me down a road that is not a good road to go down. So I make it challenge me, and Claude is particularly good for doing this. And then you can read the rest of that yourself. But here is the thinking framework. Now, this is really important. For a long time, I didn't use this. I basically applied the thinking framework to everything I did. And it drove me nuts because I'd say, I'd tell it to do something or I'd search and, what's the capital of London? Sorry, what's the capital of the UK? And it would come back with London, but then it would always follow up with, some uncomfortable question for small tasks. So it's really important that you tell it when you want to apply the thinking framework. And then this is the thinking framework itself. And you can see it uses my new branding, which I did this week, and it uses my file naming convention. So when it creates stuff, if you do use this and you've got your own branding done, maybe we can do a session on that as well, because Claude is awesome for creating your brand guideline document. This is, it will build things using your brand basically. Okay, so that is how to basically get your AI to behave well, be a thinking partner, not be a sycophant, and tell you the truth. And it works really, really well. It's basic. Most people miss it. And hopefully that is going to serve everybody. Right. I'm sure there are some questions, which we'll get to in a moment, but I know also I've been kind of quiet for 6 months, and not a lot of people, or not everybody knows what I've been working on, but I've actually been kind of rebuilding my business. and doing stuff that lights me up more than what I was doing. And I've become kind of an agency, and we do everything. We do not just LinkedIn lead gen, but we build, we run the systems, we build your lead magnets, we build everything that you need in the business. And if anybody is interested in what we do, and if it's, if you're interested if what we do could work for your business, then please go ahead and book a call with us. I'd be happy to talk to people. I can take on 1 or 2 new clients right now, but that's it. So the places are limited. But I'll drop a link in the chat. Do you have the link to hand, Roxana? Let me see if I can find it. I've got it. I've got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat. So yeah, I know. All right, cool. And I just I knew that Kavita would be here, and I wanted to. Oh, what happened there? Am I still there? Oh yeah. I don't know if Kavita's still here, but I want to introduce you to Kavita. So Kavita is a current client. I'm not sure if we've got any more clients on right now, but I'm going to put you on the spot, Kavita, and just ask you, what's your experience been since working with Linked Coach, since we've kind of rebuilt the business this way?
Yeah, I'm happy to, Adrian. And this is truly, it's very honest. Adrian and his, assistants have really, I'd say, transformed my business. I, as a coach, a solopreneur, podcaster as well, I'm sure many of you are solopreneurs or, doing things yourself. It was very overwhelming. To do everything myself, right? And with Adrian's help, not only technically, using AI and what he's talking about today, but strategically as well as, how can we grow your business? Where is it right now? So very much a partner in allowing me to really free up my time to do the things that I love, which are coaching and podcasting. And so it's also allowed me to reach out to more people, have more presence on LinkedIn, get more sales calls, more discovery calls, and more clients. So highly recommend Adrian. Really has really kind of freed up my time and made it not so, overwhelming, I would say is the main thing.
Yeah, and hopefully fun as well. I think we
And
do.
fun. He's great to work with, obviously.
I really appreciate that, Kavita, and sorry for putting you on the spot, but
no spot at all. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. I won't hop on about this. If anybody's interested, if we can make this stuff work for you, like I said, book a call. I drop the link, and we'll drop it again before the end of the call. So that's it. I'm trying to push my services on you. Let's get back to actually helping you. So I have a bonus that I didn't tell you about. And what we've done today is the basics. And honestly, it does make a huge difference to how your AI interacts with you. But you can take it to the next level if you give deeper context to your AI. And you can do it with Gemini and ChatGPT by setting up projects and giving the context within the project. But with Claude, you can do it across the board, and you can do it particularly in co-work, which we'll cover in another session. So I wanted to take you through this process that I take my clients through, two processes actually, and at least get you started with it, because not only is this valuable for how you work with AI, but everybody who's done this, every client I've had that's actually done it, has found it incredibly valuable to them personally in their business, because it just gives you so much clarity on how you're showing up, what your business is actually about, and what it is you're trying to achieve. So let me share my screen, and in fact, let me drop this in the chat first. I'm going to drop another So you should have had this by email. Hopefully Roxana was able to email it to you during the meeting.
Yes, I did.
Oh, awesome. So you can either download it from your email. It's the same. You've basically just got to save it on your computer and then double click and open it in a browser. So let me just drop it in the chat in case anyone hasn't got it. And actually, before we do that, I know Jennifer just asked a question. Let's do a little bit of Q&A right now, just before I start doing that. So the file's there, you guys can get it started. So Jennifer, you said, is there a way to separate out business and personal in Claude? Create this marketing asset versus what are the best restaurants in Prague? I would say, yes, what I do and what, I mean, I don't do it so much because I have a team, so we have to share projects. So I use Claude Chat a lot. But if you use Cowork and keep Cowork focused on your business, Jennifer, then you can just use the chat for all of the general stuff, basically. And it works really, really well. But when if I want to know best restaurants in Prague, I generally go to ChatGPT for that. Like when I'm just asking questions. Claude's great. Claude is absolutely the best tool for me for the business. But when it comes to simple things and simple questions and searching and that, I don't think it's the best personally. But having said that, you can keep using it for that kind of stuff. Just do it in Claude Chat rather than in Claude Cowork. And if nobody knows what I'm talking about with Claude Cowork, you have to have the desktop app installed to use it. And we'll look at it in another session, but it's well worth using Claude Cowork. Are there any other questions that I've missed, Roxana? Apart from the one that just came up, which I'll answer now. I'll give you a moment.
Yeah. Well, we had some technical questions previously. I don't know if we have a moment to address the raised hands.
All right. I'll do Law's first. So Law, you said, how to protect the information I give to AI to make sure it won't appear elsewhere. That is a billion or even $1 trillion question, because I don't think you can. And certainly Google and OpenAI own your information. Anything you type into their AI, they own. Anthropic has held out on that, and they do respect privacy. Into, because right now, US government on sharing information with the US government, and that's all, in legal proceedings and whatnot. So basically, I don't think there's going to be a way law to completely counter that. Maybe there will be in future, but right now, it's a very, very contentious issue, I'm afraid. What were those? So I know there's a few hands up. Let's deal with those then. Jonathan Roberts, did you have a question? Got your hand up? No? Okay, no. Adam, is your hand still from before or?
Yes, it is. I wanted to just get your opinion on so I've got ChatGPT and obviously I can use it as much as I like, and I do use it predominantly for infographics and images, stuff like that. And I've got some GPTs that are very useful that other people have built for writing and all that sort of stuff. And I want to switch over to Claude, but the one thing that's got me a bit uncertain about is the fact about these what they called the points or whatever it is, the tokens. That's the one I was looking for. So I'm just wary of the level of tokens that I'd end up using to, depending on that, because I was thinking about switching the membership from Chat to Claude.
Yep.
But I'm a little bit skeptical about how easy it's going to be to use up those tokens, and then I'm left with nothing. as opposed to ChatGPT, where I can do as much as I like and never be worried about how many times I reiterate
Well, there are a few ways to combat it, Adam, and it's not a massive problem, but for people who aren't used to using Claude and they're used to having big long chats with ChatGPT, because the longer the chat, the it uses tokens exponentially because it has to keep going back and rereading stuff. So there are ways to counteract it. There's also 3 models within Claude. There's Haiku, Sonnet, and Opus. And Opus is the one, and there's Fable if you're in the US as well. Fable, forget it. It just burns tokens in no time.
Yeah, everyone said that the Fable's disconnected in the US now, so you can't even get it.
Oh, okay.
I saw that in the chats a few times.
Yeah. So, but Opus, if you use it intelligently, you only need to use Opus for really, really deep, detailed work. So if you're creating something, that's really, really important, something very technical or very complicated, then you would use Opus. But Sonnet is good for most stuff. And if you're just asking questions like the best restaurant in Prague, you can use Haiku. That's what it's for. And each one of those uses the tokens differently. Haiku hardly uses any, and Opus is the heaviest use. But and the only thing that happens, Adam, is if you hit your limit, then you get the choice. Okay, either you can top up and pay more money, or you can wait until the limit resets. And the limit resets a few times each day, as well as you have a weekly limit and a monthly limit. So it it hasn't been a huge problem. But for me, I use it across the business with the team. So I pay for the team version, which gives us more credits anyway, more tokens anyway. But honestly, I mean, I still use ChatGPT. I have the pro version of Gemini just because I use Google Workspace. So I still use those for, all the other stuff. But when I'm creating, when I'm doing really deep stuff, that's when I use Claude, and it's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem for me, and I use it a lot. And then
I might try having Claude as well as ChatGPT just to see if having paid subscription on both and then do a bit of both and see how much the information gets those tokens get used up, because that's my concern at the moment.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Michaela, you had a question?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask about the tokens. What were the tokens? So I think you just explained. So I just got that. And as well, there was, you used something else I didn't understand. That was Fable.
Yeah.
Just asking, what is it?
It's another model from Claude. It's like the super duper, the absolute top level. And it is amazing. But the US government has told them to shut it down for whatever reason. So yeah, it's not allowed anymore. So you don't have it, I'm afraid.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. And Jennifer said, does Claude remember things across models? It does. If you set it up that way, yeah. And I know Roxana answered that. And again, when you give Claude context, it remembers the most important things about you. So hopefully that answered your question. Have we got any more questions?
Yeah. Laura was asking, what's the best advice to create our own agent?
Depends what you need it for, really. Depends what you want it to do. And again, maybe we can address that in another session. But yeah, that's a tough one to answer, Laura, because you can do so much with agents that it's really depends on the use case.
And Rachel is asking if you have to pay for Claude Cowork.
I think you do. I think you need the paid version to have Cowork. I don't know. I've got the paid version, so I haven't tried the free version. But I think
you have to pay the minimum subscription.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Jennifer said, "What's the best way to understand Cowork versus projects?" Cowork will work. It only works on your computer. Okay, so it actually doesn't work on the web at all. It works on files on your computer. and it uses agents to do stuff. So if you tell it to, you can feed it some data, tell it to analyze it, put it into a spreadsheet, build the graphs, everything that you need, and it will do all of that using agents and write it back to your hard drive on a computer. A project isn't capable of doing that unless it's a project within CoWork. So you can ring fence things within CoWork and put them in projects. And then you have just normal projects in the chat. And the reason I use projects in Claude Chat still is because I share them with my team basically, and you can't do that from CoWork. So the biggest difference is that CoWork it takes actions, it does stuff, it's agentic, and it lives on your computer, it works on your computer, not on the internet. Okay. All right. I know we're at the hour mark, so I want to get onto this. We can take more questions again in a little while, but let's try and get through this. I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll come back to the questions again. See all my dirty washing there. Okay. So this is so I originally, I don't know if you've heard of someone called Ruben Hassid, but he's awesome and I follow him and I learned a lot from him. And this was inspired by something he did, but I've taken this and modified it and I like to think improved it a lot. So basically, go through this. You can go through this at your own time, and there's an instruction video showing you what to do. Now, I do recommend doing this, but you don't have to. It still works if you just do it in the normal version of Claude. But I do recommend doing this because you get better results. And again, we can talk about CoWork in a future session, but
it's 16 hours.
And sorry about that. And then Whisperflow, I put the link to Whisperflow here. That is my affiliate link, just for complete transparency. But I all it does, it gives you a free month and it gives me a free month. So I don't care if you use it or not, but it is my affiliate link, just so you know. And then yeah, so I go through this. Now to do this, I do use the highest version because I think this is important. This is a very important piece of work because this becomes the foundation for everything else you do from using Claude in your business. So I do think it's worth putting it on Opus 8. It will still work well on Sonnet. I wouldn't do it on Haiku, but it will still work well on Sonnet if you're worried about tokens. And yeah, just set it up this way. So, and then, like I said, there's an instruction video there. Okay. Now you'll see there are 4 more pages, and this one is called the voice profile interview. So if you, and we're going to get started with this in a moment, but the one thing that isn't in here that I strongly recommend is that if you don't finish it in one sitting, which you probably won't, then make sure that you give an instruction to Claude to save it. Especially if you're in CoWork, it will save it to your hard drive. But even if you're in the chat, just ask it to save the progress. And block out, I would say 90 minutes, not even 45. And I'm just being transparent about this. I know a lot of you probably won't do this because it takes a long time, but I promise you that if you do spend the time to do this, it will make a huge difference to your business, especially, well, both of them really, but especially the business discovery interview. Okay. And basically, you can copy this prompt, all right, and put it straight. I'm just going to show you in here, but you can put it. I'm in the just Claude chat. Now, I always have, let me move this out of the way. I'm on Opus 4.8. And I always switch this on for stuff like this. You can go to max, but it does use a lot more tokens. I find that high will give you great results as well. And then just literally paste the instructions into here and hit go. Now, this is on the net, obviously. Let me just show you quickly how I would do it in CoWork. If I can open CoWork. Give me a second. I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen a second. And then share again. All right, can you see my screen? Okay, cool. So this is the desktop app, which you'll need to download if you want to use Cowork. And you can see you've got 3 options. You've actually got 4. I'll show you the other one in a moment. Here's chat, which is the same as being on the web. This is Cowork, and this is code. Okay, you probably won't use code. I do use it for some things, but and this is where ideally where you would want to use it. And you can see it actually gives you double usage until July 5th. They do this quite a lot, give you offers on the usage just to use Cowork. There's a 4th thing in here that is absolutely awesome as well called Design, which I know I said that ChatGPT was the best for creating images, but when it comes to design, graphics, branding, this is just blows my mind at how good it is. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about that today, but just wanted to show you this there. You can see that it also, with Cowork, there's an agent running right now. This just came up. So I have one-on-one calls with my team, and I set Cowork up to basically go and grab the notes from the calls and process them, go through them, add them to my Notion database, and update the to-do list based on what we talk about in the call. And all that's done automatically in the background. And that's this scheduled task here. Anyway, I digress. So with Cowork, you get it all set up and you paste it all into here. And then you can decide to work in a folder or not. And again, I'm not going to get into this now, but I'm not going to select that for now. And I'm just going to get started. And basically what this will do is start asking me questions now. Let me just make this a bit bigger. Give it a second. This is the built-in dictation tool for Claude here, but I'm not going to use it. So you can see here, it's just starting out. So what's one belief you hold about the link? Now it knows this because I've already got mine. I've got my context uploaded, so it's kind of already biased, right? Because it shouldn't really know that yet, but basically I would just do this. So the thing I believe about LinkedIn lead gen that most people would push back on is that generating leads using LinkedIn is based on networking and building relationships, not spamming people and sending horrible messages. And hit enter, and then it will go back and forth. It will challenge me on stuff and so on. Okay. So you can see it's picked up on what I said, and it's going to then, go deep with everything. So that is getting excited. I'm going to give you guys again, just if you can answer the first 10 questions, I'll give you or even the first 5 questions, but I'll give you 10 minutes to do that, and you'll see that it's this. And I want to warn you, it's a tough exercise. This is a tough thing to do. It's really going to challenge you, and it's going to make you think a lot. And at some point, you're probably going to want to throttle me because you'll be frustrated. But I promise you, if you stick with it, it's worth it. I don't know if is Mike still on the call. I know Mike's done this. No, can't see him, but I promise you it's worth it. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to just get this started, and then we'll stop and you can save your work and then you can complete it in your own time. So is there any questions on how to do all that before we go?
Just quickly, Adrian.
File.
Oh, Lee, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, just quickly, does that work on GPT as well, or is it just Claude? Because I haven't signed up for the paid version of that.
You could probably do it on the free version of Claude, just in the regular chat. I think it will work a lot better on Claude. I think it does still work on ChatGPT, but it won't challenge you as deeply, and it won't, the quality of the output won't be quite as good.
Cool, no problem. Thank you.
Are we using Cowork for this? Can you say that part again?
If you don't have that set up already, Jennifer, then no, just do it straight in the chat and it's fine. But choose Opus 4.8 if you're on the paid plan. And yeah, you can do it in the chat. It's just better to do it in Cowork for a few different reasons I won't get into now, but it's not a huge problem if you do it just in the chat.
And I started it previously. How do I find that again? How do you go back and find? I did like an hour of it when you sent it to me. So how do I go back and find that?
You've just got to search for it now. It depends where you did it. And again, this is why I'm saying make sure that you give it an extra instruction and tell it to save your work, because if you do it in the chat part of Claude, it can get lost. For example, if you clear your cache, and if you do it in Cowork and it's not saved to your hard drive, it can lose it also. But Jennifer, at some point, not now because we've got a lot of people on the call, we can go through that and I'll help you find it. Okay.
Thanks.
I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing in Claude. What are the questions or we're answering? Or
so basically, let me share my screen again.
Is this on the voice profile interview, Adrian?
Yes. Go to the link coach prompt toolkit, voice profile interview.
Okay.
Click on copy prompt.
Coach prompt toolkit.
who's
What is that? Is that one of the files we downloaded?
That's the last file. Yeah. If you open that file, you should see this page. Okay. And the first thing you'll see is the instructions on setup. Then click on the voice profile interview.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
And scroll down, click on copy prompt, and then paste that straight into either Claude or ChatGPT or whatever it is you use.
Did you send us more than one thing? Because I only have the first one.
Yes, I did. And I also dropped it in the chat, so I'll put it back in there again now. Give me a second.
Yeah, there were two different download files.
Oh, I only got
I thought
one.
they were the same at first, but they're two different ones.
Yeah, sorry about that. I should have made that clear.
They've got different names. This is a clue.
Yeah.
And the second email comes from Roxana.
Yeah. So I put it in the chat. You should be able to download it from the chat as well. Nicole, did you have a question?
Yes, Adrian, I wanted to ask because I did the voice profile interview with the Ruben Hassett prompt.
Yeah.
So would you recommend that I do it again from scratch, or can I just upload what I have?
I would, and this one is slightly different.
Okay.
So it's quite a lot different actually. So yes, I would recommend that.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks.
And I would recommend to everybody that you come back and revisit both of these interviews every probably 3 to 6 months, because you evolve, your voice evolves, things evolve in your business. It is worth updating it and updating your AI to tell it what's changed for sure. Adam, do you have a question?
I do. I just want to ask you, in terms of the Cowork, when you're using the Cowork, do the tokens get used up quite heavily when doing this sort of stuff?
Yeah, it will use a lot of tokens to do this. Yes. Yeah.
Well, once you do the work, say like I've got a location on my computer that I want to, get Claude to look at for Claude Cowork. Once I do that once and it's got all of that lookup happening to that file, can I keep adding to the file, and will that cause an extra usage, or will it just go to that file? And because I've done most of it as a run.
You'll see in that HTML page that I sent you, there's another follow-up prompt that actually compresses it and makes it as small as possible, because the bigger the file and the more words you make Claude read and write, the more tokens you're going to use. But you've got to use tokens. I mean, it's business, right? You've got to use tokens if you want to get stuff done. But,
yeah, of course. I don't want it to go ridiculous. That's all.
Yeah. What I would say, Adam, is look, test it, and but again, I'll do a session on this. I'll do a session on co-work and tokens and everything, and show you guys how to keep the token usage to a minimum and still get really good outputs. But yeah, I mean, this is just to get you started, basically. And don't worry, you're not going to burn through all your tokens for the month. It will just keep stopping you throughout the day every time you hit that limit. And you'll have to wait for sometimes a few hours, but normally it's not that long.
Okay. One thing I was going to say is those 2 documents that are downloaded, they're HTML documents. Is that what they're meant to be? Yeah. So that we'll have, those will always be accessible, right?
Yeah, they're yours to keep. You just double click on them. It should automatically open in your browser. If not, right click and tell it to open in your browser. Ideally in Chrome because it uses Chrome fonts, but it should work in any browser.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Nicole. You're on mute.
You already answered that. Sorry, I have to lower my hand.
Okay, no worries. And Michaela?
Yeah, just a question. When we finish answering the questions, the interview, is there anything else that we need to do with it? I lost you, Adrian. Can't see.
Yes, there is. And I'll show you. Well, we're not going to do it in this session. We'll do it in another session. But you'll see at the end of it, when you get the file, it will be useful for a lot of different reasons, especially the business discovery interview.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
I basically just save it and use it as I need it.
You can save it. You can also save it because it will save in Markdown format, which is what Claude works with primarily, because it uses way less tokens when you do that. But you can save it to a human readable format as well.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so I'll give you just a few more minutes and then I'll show you guys what to.
Can I ask you one more thing, please, Adrian?
Yep.
There's this, I've seen something about like MD files.
Yes.
Yeah. How do those work? Because I'm not sure how you'd create them or how to upload them into your Claude profile. If someone gives you access to an MD file for you to upload that knowledge, whatever's in there.
So MD is Markdown, and it's basically a text file. It's a very lightweight text file. So if someone sends you a Word document and you load it into Claude, then Claude has to do a lot of extra work to decode that Word document into Markdown, which is what Claude works in. Okay. And if you just give it a raw, I'm just making this up, right? But a Word document might be, 50,000 tokens for Claude to read it. Whereas if it's the same document is in Markdown, it could be 1,000 tokens. So it's just the format that Claude likes to work in, and it's basically a very light text file.
Now, can you convert like Word documents like into MD files? Like, is there a way to do that?
Yep. I use Claude to do it. Yeah. If I've got a Word document, and by the way, all of the outputs from these exercises will give you Markdown files, not Word files. But I'll show you how you can translate it to a Word file or a Google Doc.
Okay.
So I copy pasted in your prompt, and in Claude it's asking me questions based on, I assume, based on something that I've been working on. I've been working on something called sustainable careers. So a presentation, a webinar I'm going to give. And so it's asking me questions about what do I believe about career development, for example. I assume it's asking me questions based on what I've already put in Claude.
Yeah, it's probably so just what I would do is just say, please forget everything that you already know about me and do this from scratch.
Oh, really? Well, it could be a good start, but I don't know.
For me, it was like that it already had that context. But if you don't want that, if you literally want to go from scratch, just tell it to forget everything it knows about you, and it will.
Okay. I don't know. It might be fine to do it like this. I don't know. Thanks.
Okay, well, we've only got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to have to stop and I'll show you what to do with these files. So what I would say is just give a final command to Claude now and tell it to save your work up to now and then pin the conversation, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. All right, so I'll give you a moment just to finish up and give it that instruction, and then I'll show you where to go. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is a session that I did on June the 6th, just updating mine. And this is let me just move some, close this. All right. And this is my voice profile, right? So this is everything in here about how I write, how I speak, my views, beliefs, etc., all in this one file. And you can do a few things with this. Well, first of all, you can see where it is, and you can, I could move it to somewhere else on my computer, right?
Adrian, you've stopped sharing. Is that on purpose?
I've stopped sharing, have I?
Yeah.
No, that's not on purpose.
No,
I
I
can
can see
still
your
see it.
screen.
Oh, I could have.
Yeah,
I
you
could
were.
still see it.
I could still see it as well.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Hopefully you can see it now. Can you
yeah.
see it now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, I can't see it. Let me move all this stuff somewhere. The screen's driving me nuts. I remember why I don't use Zoom now.
Mm.
You need
Okay.
you need a second monitor, Adrian.
I've got one. I've just moved everything onto that second monitor. All right, we're good. So this is mine here, right? And you hopefully you saw but what you can do also is copy it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to, I'll just open Google Docs because I don't use Microsoft products, I'm afraid. Then if you don't set this up first, and this is a little bit tricky, because the way Google and I believe Word interacts with Markdown files is a bit hit and miss. It's very strange. So normally, if you just copy and paste, if I just do a V, you'll see this is in Markdown format, right? It's hard to read. It's just text. Okay. So to get it to work, first thing you do is go to Tools and Preferences and make sure this thing is enabled. Okay.
Mm.
And then check that. And then when you Control V, it should look like this. So it's all formatted. All of the headings are in the right place. You can go back and see, right? It's much more user friendly. And if it still doesn't work, if it's still giving you problems, which it might, because it did me, then right click and select this paste from Markdown. And then it's slightly different, but you can see this formats it in my brand colors now, which is even better. Okay. So obviously you can use this file for anything you want. It's human readable, but the other file, the Markdown file itself, is what you would use for co-working, or you can, when you start a new chat with either Claude or ChatGPT, you can just add that Markdown file. I don't even know where it is. Yeah, I don't know where my file is, but basically you can upload it to the chat and ask it to keep the context of that file during the chat, especially in ChatGPT. or in ChatGPT, you can upload it into a project and then it will stay in that project and it will always keep the context. But again, if you use CoWork, then it's a game changer. And I'll show you that in another session, not today. But these files are really, really valuable. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, I know that was a lot. And but I hope at least the basic part is going to be really, really valuable to you. I promise you, if you take the time and the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears to do these interviews, they are a game changer, an absolute game changer, especially if you're using CoWork. So, are there any more questions? I'm sure there are. Or anything anybody wants to raise?
Well, I'd just like to say it was a good session, Adrian. I don't know if anyone else on here happened to do what I did and went to the Tony Robbins Dean Graziosi AI workshops a while back. They're good guys, you know, but boy, do they go on. And you just did more in an hour and a bit than they did in 3 hours a night for 3 days running.
Wow.
And people, there were tens of thousands of people signed up for this, right? So if you looked in the chat, it was just going like that, boom, boom, boom. And after about 45 minutes of Dean Graziosi wittering on about how wonderful it all was and it would be, people were just leaving in droves. I don't know what it is about those guys. They can be very inspiring, but they're bloody terrible at editing. And but no, what I like here is you're doing the nuts and bolts. And as one who is very tuned into how useful it is, rather than doing too much of it myself, I will probably be giving you a shout to get some help when I get down to the more nuts and bolts. So it's very good. Thanks.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, David. Maybe I'll reach out to Tony Robbins and see if he wants to hire me.
He should have done. I mean, I had some good young people, but they were more interested in bounding around to rock music, you know, which I should not because I do that as well. But
I can see that guitar in the background.
Yeah,
Adrian, I think you want to reword that, not hire you. You want them to acquire you.
There you go. There you go. All right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Any more questions, guys?
There is a last question in the chat. If there is another way to access the 10 questions without Claude.
If there's another way to what, sorry?
Access the 10 questions without Claude.
Oh, there's more than 10, but yes, there is. But the thing is, the prompt itself doesn't stick to the questions. It will pick up on stuff, and if you tell it something and it sees a pattern or it sees something that it needs to challenge, it will do that and it will go down different paths with that. So, but if you just copy and paste the prompt itself, you can pick it apart. You can basically copy and paste it into a Google Doc or a Word doc and you'll have it all there. But, you know, just a word of warning, it does deviate from the questions when you do it live. Hopefully that helps. Who was that? Sorry, who asked that? Oh, Mia. Hopefully that helps, Mia. And Lee, did you have a question?
Not a question, mate. Just a thank you. I mean, both tools you shared today are going to make a big difference. That second one is going to be an absolute game changer for me, mate, and I'm really, really grateful. So thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate you.
You're welcome. Glad it is helpful. Law asked, starting from scratch, what do you advise? So do you mean, are you still with us, Law? Where's Law? Yeah. You mean starting with AI from scratch?
Starting the business like you've just done, starting your business all over. Because I'm not at the stage of the clients who can work with you with a 10K per month yet. So starting all over from scratch, what would you advise? people on the call.
Well, you don't need 10K a month to work to you don't need to pay me 10K a month. If you want to, you can, but you know. I would say, look, what Claude is amazing at is challenging you, asking you questions, following up, going deep. So I would start there. I would create yourself, and maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll share it with the group. Maybe I'll create a quick prompt that you could use to do this law. In fact, I will, because I'm going to have some fun with it. That can help you do this, because honestly, it's really good for reflecting stuff. And obviously, it's not a human, and it's going to, you know, get some things not quite right, but it is really good for helping you see through things and see your blocks. So I honestly, for pivoting your business, I'd recommend starting with Claude and getting it to interrogate you. All right, cool. If there are any more questions, just shout out, because I'm lost in the chat, to be honest.
Adrian, I've just got a quick comment for Laura. I mean, I think if you feed back in some of the feedback from you know, as a coach too, from your clients, and ask them, you know, how did they get on? You also ask them, and how did I perform as a coach? And because it's not human, it's absolutely brutal, which is great, you know, because that's the way it's set up. So it's a really, really good guide to say, because you think you've done a really good job, and it comes back and you're thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's a really great tool.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend, you know, feeding in like sales calls, for example, but even coaching calls probably more important. Feeding them in, I mean, you got to get the permission from your clients, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. That's all done. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but
the contract.
Yeah, but it's it's absolutely fantastic at that kind of thing. Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. If there are no more questions, then we are 1 minute over, which is pretty good for me. And appreciate everybody's time. I know time is at a premium, so thank you, everybody, for coming. I love sharing this stuff with you, and we'll do more of it. And we'll see you in the next one. I'll let you know what it is. It's not planned just yet, but I'll let you know. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Adrian.
Thank you
for your
very
time,
much.
mate.
Thank you, Adrian. Bye.
Bye-bye.